from the Southern California News Group. How are you, Kyle? He's got his Ravens stocking up there. He is good to go. Listen, Lakers lose the opener again. They did not look good doing it, but they did get their rings, and that was really cool. Let's get into it. It was a solid debut for two of the Lakers' new additions, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell. 28 minutes as a starter. Schroeder was 2 assists shy of his first career triple-double, 14, 12, and 8. Montrezl Harrell showed why he was Sixth Man of the Year. Off the bench, Harrell had a double-double with 17 points and 10 rebounds in 32 minutes. Coach Frank Vogel liked what he saw from both.
Those guys are going to be big-time players for us this year. I was very encouraged with what both of them bring to the table. Trez just being that junkyard dog, rolling and rebounding and making plays in the paint, and doing all the dirty work. And Dennis is a dynamic player. He almost had a triple-double in 27 minutes. Almost had a triple-double, just with his ability to score, with his ability to get in the paint, and then defensively he's really strong as well. So he's a winning player. Both of them are winning players, and they're going to be big contributors for us this year.
Dennis pushed the pace. He wants to run. He said after the game, he's like, man, we got to run more. I want to run, which is good. Him being able to get to the paint, I think he touched the paint 8 times and made a great pass to guys or finished or got fouled. Bringing that to our team and then defensively picking up 94 feet and Trez coming in with a defensive mindset, his offensive rebounding, and once he always bring that energy. He's going to play with energy, yelling and getting hype, and that's what we need. So like you say, especially in the early part to get us back in the flow of things. Trez is going to bring that spark, and so is Dennis. And when you got guys like that, then it makes you want to go harder, it makes you want to go play faster. So in these early, games where we might seem a little drained or body's not feeling where they're supposed to be, when you got 2 guys like that, it's like, you kind of get that second win. Like, let's go.
Tough to find any positives on the court last night, Brez, but it's our job to find them. So we did. Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, as good as advertised. They're going to be fun to watch all season long.
Yeah, Montrezl Harrell, right away, he leads the team in minutes. He was nailing his field goals, very good around the basket, fearless, like really not scared of anything. Marcus Gasol in foul trouble, no problem. You plug Trez in and just watch him go. Really fun to watch what he can do out there. And Schroeder, 2 assists shy of a triple-double. I call it a pretty good debut with the Lakers. Shot selection, interesting. 5 for 15. I'm sure he'd like to have a couple of those misses back. But again, fearless, definitely willing to assert himself in this offense. He's not going to stand back and be paralyzed and fearful of 2 great players like LeBron and AD. A good debut for both of those new Lakers.
Kyle, what'd you like from the 2 new guys?
Yeah, I think just going forward, you see what they're going to bring alongside LeBron and AD. Just guys who break up sort of the chaos and add a little chaos to the Lakers half-court game in a good way. Montrez just brings energy, putbacks, scores, unconventional baskets. And then you have Dennis Schroeder, who is going to be able to, several times when the Clippers double-teamed AD, Dennis Schroeder was just taking guys off the dribble. Luke Kennard, I think, is still roasted on the court somewhere. So you see how they add and complement what the Lakers are trying to do with their 2 stars and how they're going to make defenses really feel the pressure.
Now, the not-so-good guys, remember, you win game 1, you can't get too high. You lose game 1, you can't get too low. But there was plenty of blame to go around in terms of the Lakers' inconsistency. They struggled in every part of the game, but in the preseason, guys, we saw them fall behind in the first quarter. We saw it again last night, Kyle. I know it's only 1 game, but do you want to see a little more urgency in that first quarter? Or is that just asking too much from a team that just finished October 11th?
I think it is asking too much from a team that just finished their ring ceremony. They almost played out like maybe they had an extra bottle of champagne in the locker room before they came out. But, yes, the bottom line is the Lakers did this in the preseason. The Lakers did this last night. The slow starts have got to go. They have to have a little more urgency. LeBron called it very weird that they were playing a basketball game. So I think you saw the Lakers were a little out of it mentally. They have to find it and get back to competing right away.
Kyle, I'm glad you brought up ring night. Those are distractions. It's also a very special night. We were both around during the Shaq and Kobe days. we're used to seeing this on ring night. Phil Jackson would always talk about it. There's an emotional letdown. You have that other team in the locker room just waiting to get out there. They're motivated. They're hungry. They came down from a 3-1 lead and lost in the Western Conference semis. The Lakers are on top of the world. So everyone understands that. But you do have to look at them defensively. And they are a long way off from where they were a year ago. Obviously, that team won a championship, but they did show some spurts in that second and third quarter where they could lock down and get out in transition. But 39 points in the first quarter. I know it's only game one. Got to be better, though, Brez. Yeah, I think rim protection is going to be an issue. Okay, and the Lakers knew what they were doing. All right, they let Dwight Howard go because they knew they were going to get Montrezl Harrell, whose engine is always revving right near the red zone. I mean, he's always going sky high. He ain't going to stop no matter time, nor day, nor place. But not a big shot blocker. And then they basically trade JaVale to make room for a guy like Marc Gasol, who, 10 years ago, very good shot blocker, but age 35 Marc Gasol, he's just going to hit threes and make some nice passes. So you get rid of two really good rim protectors. Lakers led the league in block shots last season, only 2 last night. That's going to be an issue. Brez, I think you bring up a great point. One thing I noticed early on, Clippers were not afraid to take it inside. Yeah. Last year, the Lakers always had AD, JaVale, or Dwight in the game, all the way up until really the playoffs. And that's one place the Lakers always had the advantage. The other thing that stuck out, guys, points in the paint. Lakers were outscored 50-38 in that category. You look at all 5 games against the Clippers last year, whoever won that category won the game. Brez, usually when a team only scores 38 in the paint or they get outscored by 12, it shows that they're the ones maybe not being aggressive. They're not taking the attack to the game. How can the Lakers improve there going forward? Yeah, I think there was a lot of outside shots last night. It felt like almost like a continuation of the preseason for the Lakers. Obviously, only 4 of those games this year. And the Lakers looked pretty good in those 4 games. But I just felt like there was a little bit of a settling, maybe not as much going to the rack as the Clippers did. I mean, it was kind of night and day. Clippers penetrate, just kept wearing the Lakers down. And again, you've got Montrezl Harrell, who's tough, but he's 6'7", and Marc Gasol, foul trouble from the onset. He played only 12 minutes, had 1 rebound, was held scoreless. Not the type of game we will be seeing from Gasol. All right, Kyle, jump in there.
Yeah, I just thought, first of all, I don't know if the championship negates if it's a Zubats trade or if we're now over that. But I do think he was a deterrent, and the Lakers just don't have one. So I think that was a distinct advantage in the points in the paint. But I think the Lakers have to choose wisely. A lot of Dennis Schroeder floaters, a couple of Montrezl Harrell floaters, and then LeBron and AD just not looking like they were able to finish some bunnies around the rim that they usually make. So I think that will get better with time, but certainly more aggressiveness and better selection is required.
All right, guys, a minor scare in the fourth quarter as LeBron James goes up to block a shot and steps on the foot of Ivica Zubac. LeBron didn't seem too concerned, although he did not play the final 8 minutes of the game. Frank Vogel talked about managing the minutes of his star players early in the season.
We're going to be conservative with their minutes early on in the season, and we have the depth to do it. We didn't play well enough to win a game tonight, but we have the depth to manage their minutes intelligently early on in the season while we're trying to get our legs under us, and we'll continue to do so. And like I said, we have the depth for guys to fill in and still play winning basketball during those stretches.
Well, it'd be a balance, and obviously, coach decided me to, coach, and my trainer Mike decided to hold me out those last 8 minutes. The game, we kind of got down 13. They were on the flow. They were flowing, and they had momentum more than we had. And also, I had just turned my ankle as well. So, they made the judgment to hold me out. There will be games where there will be a fine line or a well balance of, okay, should I go back in if I'm at that minutes, if I'm high in minutes, or should I stay out? So, that's what communication is all about between myself and and coach. And Mike as well. So, it's game by game.
Obviously, it was the right call to sit LeBron there the rest of game one after slightly turning that ankle. Going forward, though, Brez, what are the ideal number of minutes for LeBron and AD?
Right around 30, maybe high 20s, low 30s. I think you really have to be careful. I talked to someone today who said, the Lakers pretty much showed what they wanted to do with their rotations, their substitutions towards the end of the game. And you did not see LeBron get off that bench. So I think the Lakers are saying, look, we just had barely 2 months off between games. LeBron, a little bit of an ankle roll. You got to be careful there. Yeah, we're probably not going to win this one. The defensive effort just wasn't there throughout the night. So this makes sense. It's almost like a punt. We'll take the loss and regroup for Christmas.
Kyle, I know you're not a first-class, world-class athlete like LeBron and AD, but I know you play one on TV. How long do you think it takes for AD and LeBron to kind of get their legs under them, get back going where they're not playing with any restrictions?
Yeah, I think maybe after the holidays, like me myself, getting back on my running track here.
You look great.
No, I mean, look, this is going to take a couple weeks, and it's not a surprise. You know, a lot of guys have talked about how most seasons you get to play pickup for a month, and you get some conditioning out of that. You get obviously other benefits, the rhythm and everything, but that's how a lot of guys get in shape. So, and you know, LeBron, as finely tuned as he is, he has a whole routine that he wants to go through, a whole build-up. I really anticipate at least a month before this team is fully in shape and the Lakers are kind of ready to air it all out.
Yeah, and Kyle and Geet, last year when the Lakers lost in the opener to the Clippers, it was a little bit of a sky is falling, you know, mantra. You know, Laker fans freaking out, oh my gosh, these teams are better than us, we're in trouble. None of that today. People realize the Lakers might be a little tired, a very short offseason. The sky is not falling right now.
But we're playing patience or panic later, Brez. I want you to be ready for that game.
When you call something, there's a reaction from, you know, the guys around you, obviously. You know, reading those guys takes a little bit of time too, knowing, not every player reacts the same way or at the same time, right? So you have to understand who you're playing with, and that is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. That process, mind process, that it's going to be a split second on the floor. Creating that muscle memory and motor kind of skill set. It takes a couple days.
I don't know where the curve is. I mean, we could hit all cylinders starting on Christmas, or it could take us. The first road trip, it's usually something in a season that a benchmark in a season for every team that, takes them this way or takes them this way. And, what it is for us, I'm not sure. But I'm very optimistic with the level of talent that is on this team, with and even more so the IQ level of this team, that the curve will be drastically shorter.
You see the tools that we can have a great team this year and a great season. But like we've been saying, it's going to be, it's going to be ugly at times early on. That's just the nature of this quick turnaround, and we got to fight through it.
It's only been 2 weeks together as a team, trying to incorporate 4 new players. It's going to take some time. Kyle, what are your feelings on how long this process kind of takes to get everyone on the same page, gelling, and just going in that right direction?
What did I tell you guys before when we were talking about the schedule, the first half? I wasn't going to pay attention too closely to any game in the first month of the season.
Wow.
Yep. I think just the Lakers are, finding their way. I think Frank Vogel's right. When you look at the roster, there's a lot of great pieces, a lot of basketball intelligence, a lot of reasons to think that the Lakers will find that chemistry. But, they're older. They're still kind of finding their conditioning, and all those factors kind of add up into trying to figure each other out in this early part of the season.
Be careful, Kyle. Breaking news could be on Twitter. People might have heard you say they're not going to win a game the entire first half of the season. You know how fans get. Go ahead, Brez, jump in.
Yeah,
0-37. Man.
0-37 would be tough to come back from. I will say that. Look,
it's tough to grab the 8 seed.
Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge. I think I'm with Kyle on this. If you really think about it, like MLK Day, I think would be a nice indicator for that. Where is this team? Where is this franchise?
About a month away.
About a month away.
Yep.
Yeah. First 5 games, not real easy. You still got Dallas on Christmas and Portland and San Antonio. They're kind of going through a few things, but definitely some dangerous players on that team. I could see this taking a month. I really could. It's kind of like what Phil Jackson used to say when the season started around Halloween. By Thanksgiving, he had a pretty good idea of what this franchise, what that particular team looked like that season. Give him a month.
Brez, it doesn't get any easier, but it does get a lot of fun, a lot more fun here. Christmas Day, Mavs. Luka Doncic, love watching him. He's the Vegas favorite to win the 2021 MVP. What adjustments do you want to see from this Laker team on Friday? What do you want to see different?
More penetration, less outside shooting, get to that basket. You've got guys who can do it, so make it happen. And defensively, stop the penetration. I think the Lakers are kind of lucky in that Porzingis will not be available for this game. He's still at least a couple weeks away from coming back from some off-season surgery. I believe it was his meniscus. So, Dallas is going to be shorthanded. So that's good news for the Lakers. You still got to watch out for Doncic. We're going to see Schroeder get tested for the first time. He's going to have a tough point guard on that other side, so he's going to have to shut him down. He's been doing it the last couple of years. He's become a pretty good defender out there after being kind of slow his first few years in the league defensively.
Kyle, what adjustments you want to see?
Yeah, I want to see them make the supporting cast beat them. I mean, you look at the stat lines for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard last night, almost 60 points between them. So you got to make Luka Doncic work. You got to test his conditioning. Is he ready to go? And you got to make that supporting cast of the Mavericks beat you because, as Mike alluded to, Porzingis is not there. So I would like to see Luka Doncic held to a low efficiency night, maybe a low scoring night, and see if the supporting cast of the Mavericks can beat the Lakers.
Kyle, you were in the building last night. LeBron spoke about it in the postgame. You were also in the bubble, and I know that took some time to get used to. How strange was the atmosphere being inside Staples with no fans?
Yeah, I was talking to some people about this today. I mean, I think one thing about the Lakers is it's nice that they have some elements that just sort of are so well known when you think about the voice of Lawrence Tanter, the mood and the lighting of the arena, and the championship banners. Obviously, they're waiting to unveil the next one. So I think that stuff stood out. But yeah, I mean, just the way that fans bring drama and add sort of this accent to these wonderful moments. I mean, you really miss that in an empty Staples Center.
Hey, Kyle, I have a question real quick. The crowd noise that we're hearing on TV, do you guys hear that clearly in there?
Yeah. Actually, one of the funniest things is after a game ends, I was sitting not too close to Bill Orr. I'm 6 feet away from Bill Orr last night, and then they cut out the sound about 3 minutes after the game ended. Bill said, "Wow, everyone left in a rush."
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, got to leave the game right after a Laker loss. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be. I feel like we got spoiled in the bubble. First of all, small arenas, maybe 1/3 the size of Staples Center, and the lower bowl was ringed with those massive screens. So you had, giant fans, big fan reaction, the Laker girls, whomever, bands, whatever, on all these big screens surrounding the court. Now it's just empty. There's nothing there. So it'll be a little bit of an adjustment for not just the Lakers, but pretty much every NBA team.
And by the way, guys, we are playing in front of no fans, obviously, because the COVID-19 pandemic is still raging across the world. This tweet from Mark Stein: the league has postponed Thunder at Rockets tonight. On the second night of the NBA season, Houston could not field the minimum requirement of 8 players in uniform. Houston had 9 players available to play tonight. Here's the breakdown. 3 players either tested positive or had an inconclusive result. 4 players were placed on isolation due to contact tracing protocols, while 1 player, James Harden, violated the NBA health and safety protocol and is $50,000 lighter. 1 other player was injured. So, Perez, listen, man, we saw this early on in the MLB. Marlins and Cardinals had an outbreak, but the season still went on as scheduled. But this has to be a little disheartening for the NBA that day one, they already have an outbreak.
Yeah, it's not a good start, and there's no sugarcoating it. The good thing is we all knew this was going to happen. You and I have been talking about it on these shows for close to a month now. We kind of got spoiled, again, by the bubble experience. No one came, no one left. It was really a non-permeable situation. And there were no COVID tests. There were no positive COVID tests pretty much after the first week of everyone flooding Orlando and getting down there. This is different. You're going to have traveling. You're going to have players going to their houses. You can't police these type of things. So there are going to be games that are postponed, players that might be sick, and players that might infect other players. It's going to be a stop and start type of thing.
Kyle?
First of all, I'm really interested to see how James Harden's teammates, deal with how he's been behaving and sort of the cavalier nature of his attitude toward the health and safety protocols. But if you needed a wake up, this is it. Guys have to be disciplined. Guys have to go to approved places or, be at home with their families. All NBA players know this. I mean, you saw at the ring ceremony, one very understated thing. all the Lakers.
You know, we sat there talking about it after the game and just kind of tried to process what that's like to go through that moment for a half hour. And then all of a sudden you got to flip that switch and, oh, you got to go compete. You got to go play a game. Well, that's behind them now. And so it is. The focus is on this upcoming season and we're in it. What did you like about game one as we head now into game two against Dallas?
I like the fact that the Lakers came out, particularly in the second quarter, after the Clippers, who we knew were going to come out and try to, create their space and have redemption after a disappointing last year. But I thought holding the Clippers to 17 points in the second quarter, we saw a glimpse of what their defense is all about. I like Schroeder. I like Schroeder at the point guard. He is going to be a big asset for them. He can shoot the three. He can get to the cup and finish at the rim. Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench, a double-double guy, 6 or 7 from the field, 5 or 7 from the free throw line, and really just a tough piece of beef in the paint. So I like what I saw out of those players. I know Kuz, he getting his first ring, big contract, not his best night, but I think what I saw from most of the players was pretty decent for a home opener.
I think one thing that we appreciated talking after that game was Frank Vogel admitting that he needed to find ways in which to get Marc Gasol involved. A little bit different. You expect to see that evolve. For some perspective, though, as this team is trying to gel, it's going to take some time. How many games do you give it?
I'll give it about 7 games because Coach Vogel has a lot of combinations he can use, and I think he's got to find the right one, particularly for Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol is a great passer, a great trigger guy, a pretty good defensive player, so I don't worry about him. I think Vogel will find the right combinations to play with him. He started in the game against the Clippers, but I think finding the right combination where he can enhance the players out there, because he's a remarkable player. If you're cutting and slashing, he understands the offense very well. He can be a big, big asset for both ends of the court for Coach Vogel.
And it certainly helps when you have 2 superstars, in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Can we first start with Anthony Davis? God, did he look good.
He looked really good.
First game back.
And what I really like is the adjustments he made from the defense. The Clippers did a good job of kind of taking the ball out of his hand by double teaming him, but he's looking for the quick pass. The one time they double teamed him, he found Montrez right away underneath for a layup. And when he faces up and shoots his jumper, he's unstoppable. Blocking shots, altering shots. Not a great intimidating AD game, but still very impactful.
Dominant in the moments in which he was able to be. LeBron James, 28 minutes, which was a bit unusual. Obviously, he did say when he tweaked that ankle, it kept him out for the 8 minutes or so he would have gotten the fourth. Expects to be ready to go come Christmas Day. Can you still believe, though, that it's season 18 and he's about to be 36 in just days?
It's still hard to believe, Allie. Coming out of the bubble, short turnaround. I mean, LeBron didn't say this. I'm saying this. I'm tired because I just know he's tired. You know what I mean? He's carrying a lot of weight. He's a great leader, and it just gives him a few hours of sleep. He's going to be fine. He looked good in game 1 until he tweaked his ankle. But I don't worry about LeBron. He'll be there. Just get a man some rest. Still the king.
Let that marinate. With a glass of wine.
Absolutely.
No big deal. Luka Doncic, Christmas Day. That's next for the Lakers. I'm sure they'll be ready. Big game. Thanks as always. Skeeter, back over to you.
Allie, big game. Appreciate it. The ring ceremony was absolutely awesome. We wish all the fans could be there to celebrate with the team as well. But it was a first-class job by the entire organization. Special shout-out to Jeannie Buss and everyone that was involved. Brez, what was your favorite part of the ring ceremony?
I have to say it was kind of a merging of two worlds. When the coaches were presented with their rings, the Lakers chose essential workers to be the ones to hand it out. So you're talking doctors and nurses. Those are the ones who kind of handed off to Frank Vogel and his staff from last year. I thought it was a really, really cool moment where you're kind of acknowledging what's going on outside the confines of Staples Center by having the real world really kind of step in and really do a classy job of presenting 12 of those guys, Lionel Hollins, Jason Kidd, Mike Penberthy, the entire coaching staff, and, of course, Frank Vogel, too.
That's a great point, President. I'm glad you brought that one up. Kyle, what about for you, man?
Yeah, I mean, the families. I know everything about my exterior screams that I'm a tough guy, but I'm a soft-hearted individual. So, I think just the families, and very specifically Jared Dudley's family, who I got to know a little bit in the bubble, his young son, Justice, saying, thank you, Dad. You inspired me to follow my dreams, which I got to admit, it was getting a little misty in Staples Center.
I am right now.
Look, isn't that? I mean,
no, I'm with you. Markieff Morris and Dudley's families, I a little tear in my eye. Not going to lie to you.
Yeah, LeBron seemed genuinely surprised, too. I'm not sure all the players knew that their family members and friends.
They did not.
They did not surprise them.
Yeah,
so definitely some genuine surprise on the looks of the faces of the players.
Don't let the soft look and emotional side of Kyle Goon fool you. You cross the line, he's throwing hands and it's guys. I cannot wait to see it on Sunday.
Shout out to my guy Rohan, by the way.
Yeah, Rohan.
Yeah.
Koger, all the whole crew.
Bubble
Good
dweller.
stuff. Koger, of course. What was your lasting memory of the 2020 season, Brez?
I think big picture, obviously, the perseverance of the season that took, 13 months to complete. I mean, just crazy in that sense. But I think the AD shot, I think the big three against Denver, to me, crystallized the move from great player to potential legend, especially in the minds of Laker fans. I thought that was just a huge shot for him. They needed that win, too. You don't want to be going into a Game 3 in the West Finals tied at 1-1. But he made that happen. And that's probably the shot that I will not forget from this championship run.
Yeah, for me, it's, you start off with Kobe, and I just can't ever think of the season without him. And then the bubble and no fans, and then our night here on set after the championship, just crazy. You're thinking about everyone that ever worked here.
The champagne.
Yeah, it was just a real surreal moment. For you, Kyle, like what sticks out? You were there, man. You were in the bubble.
Yeah. And with a nod to, everything having to do with Kobe as sort of unforgettable moments. The bubble was like a deployment. The bubble was, I call it the NBA Death Star. NBA was your life 24/7. And everybody in the bubble was there for one reason. So it was just a strange environment. There was a weird communion of sorts between, us players and all the NBA staff who were there. And it was something to kind of get through. But at the end of it, it kind of felt special that, you'd been there for 90 plus days. It was a unique experience that hopefully will never happen again.
Kyle, you got to explain Death Star to Geet. Not a big Star Wars guy.
Oh, come on. I watched it as a kid.
You're more of a Star Trek guy.
I just, after 82, I don't think I saw another one, but I heard the new one's good. Mandalorian?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give you my Disney sign-on so you can check it out.
It's different than Star Trek, right?
It's
Star Wars, right?
Different.
Yeah. Jedis and Luke Skywalker, all those guys.
Baby Yoda, have you heard of that?
Yeah, heard about it. Yeah,
okay.
All that stuff's
right.
great. Kyle, you were great, by the way, in the bubble. You were awesome. All right, we got to move on. Speaking of champions, Derek Fisher, 5-time NBA champ, current head coach of the LA Sparks. In 2 seasons with the Sparks, D. Fish, 37-19, and now has added general manager to his title.
Having the opportunity to extend and renew my contract as the coach of the team, which I was already excited about and looking forward to, but also the additional responsibilities of being a general manager. For me, it just represents an opportunity to continue to want to have both feet into supporting our players and supporting these women as they continue to push forward. Becoming GM is an extension of that passion to be able to have a more hands-on role in our vision and how we want to do things, not just on the court in terms of X's and O's, but the vision for our culture, our operating system, the way we want to work together, how we want to collaborate, how we want our players to feel, the type of players that we draft, the way we develop those players, how we scout college players, how we view our international prospects. I'm really just, again, looking forward to continuing to work with Michael and Eric to help lead our team and work with our players more closely. I think this also sets up an opportunity to really be able to dive in in a deeper way with how to help them and how to serve them more than just being their coach. It is even more so my job to make sure our players are feeling like being here with the Sparks allows them to become as close as possible to the best versions of who they are as women and as players.
Congrats, D-Fish. That's awesome. We know it's only been 1 game, but the Lakers never had a lead against the Clippers. Tatum, it's Jason Tatum time. Giannis switches on to him. He wants the challenge. Remember, he's the Defensive Player of the Year. Bank! Celtics up 2.
He did
with
not mean to
0.4
do
seconds
that.
left. Where's Derek Fisher?
That's an obscene angle right there.
How about this, Brez? Drew Holiday lobs it to Giannis. Tristan Thompson is called for the foul.
Ticky-tack.
The MVP, two-time MVP, he's at the line.
No problem.
Got to make it if you're the MVP.
He's not a good free throw shooter, Geet.
He's not?
What's going to happen?
Well, clock's going to end. He's going to miss.
Oof.
And the Celtics are going to win 122-121 on a hero shot by Jason Tatum.
He didn't mean to make that.
Oh, you hear the music. It's time to overreact to a loss,
or maybe not,
in game 1 of 72, or maybe not.
A beautiful media tradition.
Yeah, panic or patience. One of my favorite games. I'll give you a topic. You tell me if you're going to panic or be patient. The Lakers were down 22 points to the Clippers in the first quarter. They cut the lead to 2 by half, but panic or patience. The Lakers never had a lead against the Clippers on opening night. Brez, right? Brez or Kyle? Brez.
Yeah.
You just told me, didn't you? Go ahead.
Yeah. Patience.
Yes, patience.
I know the season's 10 games shorter, but there's still 71 games to go. And by the way, they cut that 22-point lead down to what, 2?
2.
Yeah, I mean, they really cut into that thing. It comes down to that first quarter. You can't allow foul when their season started up. We've watched college football and the NFL week after week after week. Entire college football programs decimated for weeks at a time. I mean, this is no surprise.